Welcome to the Awaken Heart Podcast. I'm your host, Nancy Walters. Get ready to create magic and miracles as you lean into your heart's desires. I believe not only does the heart want what it wants, but it knows. This show is a weekly deep dive into what it means to live from an awakened heart. I'll be sharing inspiring stories and real conversations with people just like you, who have turned the ordinary into the extraordinary. My mission is to show you how you too can be connected and heart-centered in every area of your life. Your journey to aligning with more love, more joy, and your wildest dreams come true starts now. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Awaken Heart Podcast. I'm your host, Nancy Walters, and boy, do we have an episode for you today. I really feel you're going to love this episode. I've had a lot of great ones in the past, and this one is one of my absolute favorites. What happens when over 25 years of success in the entertainment industry meets a spiritual awakening? Today's guest, Shab Azma, brings exactly that powerful combination. She's worked with some of the biggest studios in Hollywood, think Universal Pictures, Revolution Studios, and the Food Network, leading licensing, branding, and talent management for major projects and celebrity clients. Shab is also the founder of Art Collective, a company dedicated to helping women align passion, purpose, and profession, while also honoring the divine feminine. Shab opens up about building brands, leading with heart, and how a powerful plant medicine journey sparked the creation of her company. We dive into trusting your inner voice, especially when the path ahead feels uncertain, and how to humanize the work experience, balance energies in the male-dominated spaces, and follow your intuition. Now, I used to call Los Angeles my home for over 2 decades, and I worked in Hollywood for many, many years. And being out there and working in the industry and seeing what I've seen and seeing all that Shab has accomplished, I really admire everything that she has done. And I love how she's deeply rooted in the spiritual world like I am and passionate about bringing those transformative energies to the masses in a grounded, practical way. Our chat dives deep into her journey, and I think you're going to really love hearing from her. In fact, I know you're going to. So if you're craving a conversation that blends business, intuition, and bold feminine leadership, this one is for you. Hey, Shab, welcome to the Awaken Heart Podcast.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy for you to be here. I finally get to meet you. You are beautiful. You are I'm overwhelmed and impressed by you and what you have done in your lifetime as far as your career and your successes and what you have created now. And I can't wait to dive into so many things. First of all, going into what you've done before, but I love what we talked about what you're creating and who you've become in the process and what you're going to offer to others by us diving into like humanizing, doing business, masculinity and femininity, and all those beautiful aspects. But first of all, we have a common friend, Ray. We talked about him. He's a Ray. Hello. Shout out to Ray Dustar. You got to watch this episode. Thank you, Ray, for connecting to kindred spirits.
You're the ray of light, Ray.
Yes, you are. You'll like that. So, but yeah, you've got such an impressive resume. And I've told you how I've had a lot of women that have come on this podcast where they've attained such amazing successes in their lifetime. And then realizing like later in life, maybe, okay, this has been wonderful. I'm so grateful for my career and what I'm doing. But you know what? Something's missing. I need to create something else, something that's more soul led. And they're creating these amazing soul led businesses and leading others to really find that spark within themselves to really own their authenticity and their real true power and what they might have come into this lifetime to do to change, because we're in this whole new paradigm where we're changing from like the old models of shoulds. Well, I need to have the white picket fence. I need to have like the husband. I need to have 2+ kids. I need to have this career and climb this corporate ladder. And now we might still have those careers and be grateful for them, but we're also expanding ourselves into creating more for ourselves and our lives and for others. And your career, 25 years, you've been in the entertainment industry in so many different aspects. And I'll have you explain all that. And then you work for a boutique company, you've represented a lot of A-list clients, and you've worked on some really great productions. Your career spans from managing blockbuster brands at Universal to shaping the careers of household names. What drew you to the world of branding and entertainment in the first place?
Well, thank you for asking. I didn't plan it, Nancy, if I'm really honest with you. A small town girl from New Jersey who had big dreams of being a performer, dancer, singer, actress, the whole thing, and moved out to California in high school. My parents moved me out here. And of course, the best place to be, Los Angeles, for those kinds of dreams. And I start with that because I think I always knew that I was meant for something bigger than the small town that I lived in. And I think California was calling, and my parents were the way in. Wasn't happy about it. Left like literally senior year of high school. But I think it's like looking back now, I can reflect and I go, God, like it just goes to show that sometimes the things that you don't want, it's exactly what you need. And so for me, it's really what put me on the journey that I've been on, which is, really sort of understanding that my greater purpose in life has been less about me being the star, which is what I thought I needed to be, and supporting all of us being stars in this world. And so I have fallen into the representation space. Never planned to be a talent manager. Again, I wanted to be the one being managed. I wanted to be the one on screen like you had been, Nancy. I wanted to be an artist and a performer, and I tried. I actually did the acting thing. I was a singer for many years. Performance is inside of me. It's still brewing inside of me. But I also am very much right and left brain balanced. And I wanted to also like have a career. And I didn't have the patience for someone to dictate my future because of the way that I looked. You and I know all too well being in this industry, it's dumb luck half the time or who
Yes.
you know. And so I knew at a very young age, I went to university. I went to study. I wanted to get out of college and I wanted to get a job. As much as I was a kid with dreams to be an actress and a performer, I also had a dream of having a briefcase.
Yeah.
And I say this very specifically because I had the visual of a briefcase as a young girl. And I think about that because I don't know how many girls think. I remember thinking wanting to work in a building. When I think of like a corporate structure, like I had these visuals in my head as much as wanting to be a triple threat singer, dancer, and actress. So I've always had that right, left. And I'm like, I remember thinking, like, God, if I could just be like Jewel. Remember the singer Jewel?
Hmm.
I remember reading about how she, like, I always say this, how she lived in her van and she would perform at cafes, literally homeless, because that's how committed she was to her craft. I was not Jewel. And I had to own that. I was not willing to like do those kinds of things because I had the other part of my mind going, no, you went to school, you went to university, you worked at a bank, you're going to have a career. So it's been a blessing and a curse because I have both parts working at all times, but I had to learn how to integrate it. And this time in my life has really been about integration in every way, which is the right brain and the left brain, the masculine and the feminine. And so for me, I've been really focused on most recently in my career of that integration and bringing that integration model into everyone that I speak with, whether it's my clients who are on TV, whether it's my family, my friends, my relationships, my community. I'm really so dedicated right now, taking my years of experience, which is, yes, I learned how to build brands. I got my start at Universal Studios working in consumer products and licensing and merchandising. Nothing I was ever interested in, Nancy. I actually didn't even want to do it, but I took that job because it was the first steady salaried position I was offered after working as a bank teller at Wells Fargo while also trying to be an actress in LA.
Wow.
I got this opportunity and I was like, no, no, I don't know. I don't even care about like animated films because Universal at the time, it was like, it was like The Mummy and The Grinch Who Stole Christmas and Jurassic Park, like so live action and animation, Curious George, Rocky and Bullwinkle, Woody Woodpecker. And I was like, I don't care about these properties. I wasn't a parent. I was a young girl in my 20s and I just was like, I didn't know anything about merchandising, but it was my way in. And it's where I met Ray, ironically, our mutual friend here.
Hmm.
Um,
Do you
and
ever go to his fight nights? Remember, he used to host. That's how
yeah,
I met him, through my
yeah,
friend Doria. Yeah.
yes. And so I now look back and I go, okay, I can see the full picture. But I also see where I sold myself out. I took the job because it was a big paycheck for me back in the day, at a time when I was like a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit
Yeah.
there. I was like, it was the stability and it was the safety and it was universal and it was all the things that I look back now on and I go, yeah, I could see how I kind of sold in a little bit. And I could have just kept going with the other things like were really leading me and I had ignited passion inside of me, hence the acting and all those things. I gave that stuff up for security and I own that and I can look at that now and go, yep, I did that. And I ended up sort of like having a whole career based on that, but my career could have been very different. And I'm in gratitude and full gratitude of where I've been led, but I'm now choosing to do things with much more intention.
Hmm.
And I'm really seeing where I have fire in my belly because I know if I have fire in my belly, that's me, the universe telling me you got to go, you got to lean into this. I didn't have fire in my belly for licensing and merchandising. I just didn't.
It was a job,
But
a good
I
job.
I can own and I can see where I sort of, caved, and my journey has been beautiful. I've had quite the arc, which is what we've named my company that I started 4 years ago, Arc Collective. I can see the arc in my own story, and I can see that I have blossomed into someone who has really understood her her history and the community of people that have been around me my whole life that have led me to this moment here with you. And so I don't take any of it for granted. I understand the world of building intellectual property. That's how I got I can see that now. And I understood every aspect of the entertainment industry working at a studio like Universal. So grateful for that. I learned how to build and grow and yeah, and intellectual property like a film, and then create ancillary business around that in consumer products. So the toy deals, the clothing deals, the posters, the comic books, the video games, all the things that actually bring money to big franchises like a Jurassic Park. And working with all the different departments at a studio. You got promotion, theatrical, marketing, creative, retail, sales, all these things. And it was great. It was a great way for me to cut my teeth and understanding the 360 model and the ethos and the ecosystem, I should say, of building an IP that is beyond just one thing, like a theatrical release. So now, when I can see that of what I'm doing today, I can see how incredibly important that was for me.
Hmm.
And so I fell into talent management. I took this world of like building brands and I shifted it over to people brands. So I worked at a company called The Firm. I was the VP of licensing there. The Firm represented, big music artists like Jennifer Lopez and the Backstreet Boys and Enrique Iglesias and Limp Bizkit. And then we had actors like Leonardo DiCaprio and Cameron Diaz and Martin Scorsese, like all the biggest names. I was in the middle of that. I found a way to build them as not necessarily brands, because music artists, you can do merchandising, tour merch, and things like that. With actors at the time, it's hard to brand them, so it was more endorsements and, campaigns where you would see, a piece of talent matched with a brand, and it was a way to make money. Um, where it was limited, though, is that actors are hard to brand. Now people have done it. You see Jessica Alba with Honest Company, or you see Reese Witherspoon has done it with Hello Sunshine. You can see Drew Barrymore is building her whole world at retail and on a talk show. But at the time when I was doing this, it was kind of like taboo for a piece of talent to put their face or their name to a product. It was kind
Yes.
of considered really taboo.
Unless
And
it was overseas, Europe, they do European
that's
ads.
exactly right, Nancy.
George Clooney.
That's exactly right. Well, my biggest story is I was working with a really big actor. I won't say his name in case he happens to listen to your podcast. But I had a Bank of Ireland commercial that was gonna pay this person $1,000,000 just for a Bank of Ireland commercial, and he said no, because he was worried about it being taboo, and I'm like, "But it's just in Ireland, like, no one in the
Hmm.
US is gonna ever see this." And that was the moment, Nancy, where I thought, "What am I doing? I'm just making wealthy people wealthier, and I don't wanna do this anymore." And so I left. That was when I realized at that point that I had a higher purpose in this life. And so then I ended up going and working at a boutique management company after several years of consulting in between and doing very heart led projects that were very successful in their own right. I ended up running a boutique management company where we represented experts, and experts you can brand. You think of Rachel Ray, you think of Martha Stewart, you think of Wolfgang Puck, you think of, the Chip and Joanna's at Target. Like, you can brand experts, right? And I fell into the expert space. Never planned for it, but I would magnetize the opportunity. My former business partner literally meditated, needed someone to run his company, and I came to mind because I had met him at a chance encounter 2 years prior. But at the time, I wasn't ready to do that with him. I was really enjoying my independence as a consultant. And he woke up one day and he called me and he's like, I know it's been a couple of years. I had a meditation. I need someone to help run my company because he was running for political office. And he thought of me. And I, at the time, I'd been 7 years consulting and I was like, okay, I think I'm ready. I'm ready to go back in, but I want to do it differently. And so he and I partnered up. It was a boutique management company and we represented a lot of Food Network and HGTV talent. Two worlds I didn't know anything about at the time. I didn't really watch Food Network. I didn't watch HGTV. I didn't know any of his clients, but I knew that I could brand them because they were experts in food and home, which is where all the dollars go. We all eat and we all have a home. And so cut to, several years into that, I ran that company for 10 years, but I felt like I was starting to just dial it in. I felt like I felt depleted. The problem in the talent management business is you're as good as your clients. And if your clients decide they don't want to do it anymore, then there goes, all the sweat equity and equity you put into building them. And there's a couple scenarios. One in particular, I had a very big client who, after 5 years of building this person's career, she decided to leave because of an issue with my former business partner. And that's when I had to really re-examine what I was doing because I had put so much into building her business, put a lot of trust in my partner. And the thing kind of crumbled because of some decisions that were made by him that I was excluded from. And so I had this point in my life where I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I want to be a talent manager anymore. This doesn't feel great. I know that I don't think I want to be in business with my partner anymore. I love him. He was a great mentor, but we just are at a different place in our journey. And I want to do it different if I'm going to stay in management. And so that's what led me on my spiritual journey. And I'm going to take a pause because I don't want to go into it unless you have questions for me about
No, yeah. So, yeah, you went from helping so many people build their brands, and then you began merging it with spirituality with your professional work because you felt that, there's something more. I want to do more. And it seems like it does come to a point in a lot of our lives where we just feel there's something more and we feel a little bit of dissatisfaction with what they're doing. It's not very soul fulfilling. And it's funny you were mentioning that about you're only good as your clients. I used to work at L'Hermitage way back in the day, like
Larry.
and every like Angelina Jolie
Yes.
came in after she won her Oscar and her mom was staying there while she had cancer. And, all the big wigs would come in, like Kevin Spacey used to come in and Robert De Niro. And we'd be told to clear out when Def Jam had their awards, like they would clear us all out of there because it would get really crazy. But we'd have a lot of agents that would be in there and you hear them talking, they'd come and drink and they'd be bitching about their be in there bitching about this and bitching about that, and
Yeah. It's a tough
A-list
game.
celebrities is so funny.
Management is tough. I mean, I'm a nurturer,
Mhm,
I'm very maternal. So I know that I'm a really good manager.
mhm.
Nancy, like, I advocate for my clients. I'm a natural born advocate. I'm Middle Eastern. I have to be. I've had to advocate for my culture my entire life, being Iranian. And so I've had to identify and understand that part of myself too. And so I'm a really good manager and I can say that now. I could never have said that to you 3 years ago, so that would have sounded egotistical. But I know that I'm really good at it because I am a natural born advocate and I really almost in some ways I enjoy the human connection so much. And the reason why I've magnetized so many incredible clients is because they literally call me like their therapist. So I'm as good, and this is the right brain, left brain, I'm as good at negotiating deals for them as I am really listening to them and trying to create opportunities that are very bespoke to them. And that is that integration I alluded to earlier. It's also because it's my journey that I'm on. So even like I'm a super connector. So when I can like understand what your purpose is and I can lock in with you and we're working side by side together, then we can create this like orbit of people and this ecosystem around us that I magnetize because I'm so locked in. And that is a superpower that not every manager or
Mhm.
especially agents who are transactional have. And it's something that I'm able to really tap into. And I almost channel with my clients and I
Mhm.
kind of channel with them. And then every opportunity that comes around us, I'm able to go deeper with it because it's not just a job and it's not just a paycheck. I have never been motivated by money, except for when I
Yes.
mentioned when I took the job at Universal for a paycheck, a steady salary, maybe when I was younger, but I've never in my life really been motivated by money. It's always like I have to feel a connection to it in order for me to really feel passionate, in order for me to be able to sell,
Mhm.
is I have to feel really connected. And I think as a manager and why I started my own company was because I wanted to work with the people that I wanted to work with. Being at other companies, you're kind of like you inherit clients. And I wanted to be the one choosing who I wanted to work with
Mhm.
so that I knew that together we could create magic. I can't do that with someone that's kind of been shoved down my throat. And
Right.
when you work for the man, you work for corporate, it's like and which I had at Universal, at the firm, at Flutie, it's like I was kind of forced into some of those situations. All lovely people, by the way, but that connection may not have been there. And I've
Mhm.
had more success now because I get to create that and that choice is mine together with the talent that I'm speaking with to represent. So, but management's not an easy game. It's like, we're called glorified babysitters. I don't think that that's what I am, but I mean, that is a part of the job. There's a lot of hand holding.
Right. Well, you bring such a beautiful, unique approach to it, especially in Hollywood. I've spent my time there and we've seen a lot of shows on it. Do you ever watch that French show? I don't remember what it's called, The Agents. It was so funny where they were handling their talent and all these. Oh my gosh, I'll figure
The
out what it
agent,
is and I'll
the agents, is that
send
what
it to you sometime.
you're okay.
Yeah, it's really good. You're an anomaly out there in Hollywood because there's so many cutthroat people that only care about like money and rising to certain positions. So your approach is so beautiful and it's so unique. And I really haven't come across somebody like yourself who brings spirituality and humanity into everything and connection. And you have purpose, passion, profession. Those are your three P's that you live by. How do you guide your clients to align with theirs?
Yeah, thank you for that. When we have clients that come to our company, I have them tell me everything. And here's the thing. They come to us. I don't really ever go I have had to learn my whole life, I feel like I've had to kinda hustle. I've had that hustle mentality that a lot of us women have. And I had to learn that we don't need to chase as long as we're living in truth, we don't need to chase anything. We have to work. We can't just sit back, right?
You
But we
align.
have to and so what's been really beautiful is as I've come into my spirituality and my awakening, the kinds of people that have come into my life and my professional life, I know it's a direct result of what I'm manifesting and what I'm creating in this world. And so they come to me and we can't say yes to everyone, and that's the honest truth because we also want to remain boutique. And there are pillars within our company that we measure each talent against as well. Because as much as I may love somebody, I'm also a business and I have a staff that I need to make sure gets paid.
Mm.
And so I'm not a nonprofit, maybe someday, but for right now I am a business. And so I have to be really mindful. And that is why I have an incredible team that balances me and grounds me because I am so heart and passion led when we look at like the metrics, the pillars that we have to measure things against. So that being said, when I meet somebody that we've decided to take a meeting with, I have them tell me everything. And I want to know from where they were born, how they were raised, what led them to their profession and their passion, their purpose. And their stories are all so unique and beautiful. And I'm so inspired. And then together we go, okay, what is your North Star? Like, really, like, what is your North Star? What do you really, really want? And then we get them to get there. They have to know that in order for us to really be able to work backwards from there. If they're unsure, they're not the right fit for us at ARC, at my collective. They have to have and if they need to go and come back, that's okay. But it starts with, like, what is your North Star? So I wanna hear the whole story. I wanna hear your passion. I wanna hear your like, what I shared with you about my how I got here. I wanna hear how they got here to the call with me. And then what is their North Star? And then we as a collective, as my team of incredibly smart, seasoned women We come together because it has to be a team decision. And we go, okay. They hit all the pillars, and we only have a few. And then we feel passion for what they want to create in this world. And then together we come up with a strategy of how to do that. And it's not going to happen right away. You have to have patience. You have to be willing to work. I say you have to match us hustle for hustle. I can't be doing all the work for you. You have to be creating on your side too. And that's why we're together. We're really creating and manifesting the opportunities that lead to that North Star.
That's beautiful. I love that. So, as a woman leading an all women company, how do you create space for authenticity and wholeness in a world that often rewards hustle and hierarchy?
Yeah, I've had to learn that. I will say I am learning every single day of how to be a good mentor and CEO of my company. Listen, it's a blessing to have these incredibly smart women around me that I've also magnetized and brought to my purpose. I was shown through a plant medicine journey 5 years ago.
You're going to talk about that.
Yeah, I was shown 5 years ago when I was stuck in that rut, and I will come back to answer your question. When I was stuck in that rut of, like, "What do I do? Do I stay in management? I know that I'm not happy. I know I'm dialing it in, and that's not who I am. I don't wanna be transactional. I'm not an agent. I'm a manager." And, agents have the notorious bad rap of being more transactional, and managers are more holistic, and we're deeply embedded in every aspect of our clients' businesses. So, knowing that I was dialing it in and acting like an agent, which I didn't wanna be, I was thankfully led to a plant medicine journey. I did psilocybin with an urban shaman who I had had in my life, who had been a dear friend who had been telling me about plant medicine, and I had had him actually work with a few of my clients who had had profound experiences. This is a girl here who doesn't I don't smoke marijuana, I don't drink, I'm not, so for me to do anything like that was kind of, I don't know, but thankfully, I got it. It was at the right time where I was, like, at this crossroads, and I needed guidance, and I knew it wasn't something I was gonna get through a mentor or coach. I knew that the answers lied within me, and I knew that. So I did this plant medicine journey, and I was shown, and I know, Nancy, you've done it. So for those that maybe haven't, you take I took the
The
tea,
medicine.
the mushroom, and then I chose to lay down, and I put an eye mask on, and I was, like, in my zone for 4 hours. I did not move. And he's around me doing his thing. He's got the music, he's got his instruments. It was a very inside job for me. I didn't want to see anything. I just wanted to be inside myself. And I was gone for 4 hours.
Wow.
And it was the most incredible spiritual experience of my whole life. And I got a lot of what we call downloads. I was being shown by what I think was either my higher self, my spirit guides. I was being shown so much in 4 hours, but what I really understood was I was being shown my client roster at the time, and I had attracted and magnetized incredibly strong, fierce women, a lot of women in a male-dominated industry. Chefs, food, right? Predominantly male chefs, not a lot of female chefs. Now it's changing. And women in construction on HGTV, people that are literally renovating and building homes,
Mhm.
women doing this, and I repped these people. And they were showing me, like, a handful of my clients who are, like, the baddest ass women of my roster. They were showing me that. And that when we come together, me and these women, literally those were the words, "You will make miracles
Mhm.
happen." And it was showing me my talent at the time because that's what I would understand. Now, 4 years later, 5 years later, because I did the journey 5 years ago, I know that it wasn't just limited to those women. It was the collective of women that I've attracted, my team, the new clients that I have, people that are consulting with me. It's like, and ironically, the name ARC, my company ARC Collective, was because I also got a very deep understanding of my lineage to my grandmother on my dad's side. And matriarch just kept coming through for me. Matriarch, arc. I was shown kind of Joan of Arc vibes. I was shown that I was in a past life that I was being lifted up and carried by what felt like villagers on a platform. I was clearly, I think I was dead, but I was someone that was notable, someone that the people loved, and they were
Mm.
holding me and lifting me up on a platform. And almost kinda like I was, like, almost, like, shown, like, a Joan of Arc type of archetype that I was at the time in a past life. So the word arc really came through for me, Joan of Arc, matriarch. And so when I started Art Collective, which my sister-in-law and now my, like, head of marketing and creative helped me come up with the name. She's like, "I don't think matriarch is a little too on the nose for just all women." arc, how about arc? And then collective. And now we think about the collective consciousness. And so so to answer your question, I work as a team. I don't look at myself as just like, yes, I started the company. I'm the CEO and founder of the company, but my whole team, we are a collective CEO community. And I give everyone a seat at the table. I'm learning how to mentor them as much as they're teaching me how to be a good mentor. And I'm like really trying to help support their individual dreams because they all have their own dreams. And this only works if we can integrate all of their dreams into what we're building, which we're united in building something that really positively impacts 8 billion people on this planet, which is still through content. And so I think about how it's not always easy working with women because we're also female bodies. So we have to go on maternity leave because we have beautiful babies that we bring into this world. And so when it's all women and two of them have to leave for mat leave and we're a boutique, small little company, I can feel that. And those are the moments where you go, maybe I should hire a few men. Maybe I should think about bringing on a few men. But I love it. We're honest. We can have our thank you COVID. Now we do a lot of remote Zooms. We all are remote because we also have families and I want to support that work-life balance for all of my team. I don't micromanage. I trust them implicitly. I've had to learn to let go of control, surrender to my incredible team of women in the areas that I know that they can handle. And that's how we are becoming so successful so fast inside of 4 years is because I've had to learn the art of delegation and empowering women in my team to do what they're really good at and trusting my team and also realizing that I don't need to oversee every little thing and just to let go and surrender into my divine feminine.
Mm.
I've always operated in my masculine, which is do, 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 which is a lot of what C-level executives that are women have a lot of masculine energy because we've always ever had to do, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. But the art of what I'm trying to master is the balance of divine feminine, divine masculine while being the head of a company like Art Collective. And I'm learning it every day. Just this morning, I'm going to be honest with you. And I had a really tender moment this morning that I don't have very often. And there's some emotions and there's all the things that I had to allow myself to feel as a woman running a business that I poured every ounce of my money and energy and effort into. And I was having a moment of, sometimes we have dips in our revenue and I had to look at the bank account and I had a moment and I was like, and I had a moment and I allowed myself to have the moment. I allowed myself to release it. Money is just energy, capital is energy. And I had to just kind of sit with that. That is the divine feminine that I've really had to tap into. Because
Yep.
as women, we're so, especially
Trust.
as C, it's like everything's great, everything's good, everything, and it's like I had to sit and allow myself to feel what I was feeling and then let it go. And I'll tell you after that, and I cried and everything this morning, which I don't do very often anymore. And the day has been no short of a miracle since then. And so I'm really
Mm.
also very committed to balancing the masculine feminine energy in what we're doing every day in my business structure with my team and trying to really humanize our staff meetings, checking in with everyone personally, make sure everyone's okay, and not just all work all the time, even within work. So it's been an exciting adventure for me. I'm learning so much. I'm always learning every single day and I continue to learn.
Wow. Yeah, I can see the feminine energy in you. I can see it's that surrender. It's like not being so reactive. You had an emotional release today, which is a beautiful thing to get that out and to accept it. And miracles do happen when you're just like, okay, I trust, I surrender, I'm here, I'm present. Divine feminine is such a beautiful aspect that all of us women can really embrace. I mean, men, divine masculine, the warrior types, but there's also a divine feminine within themselves as
That's right.
well. Yes.
That's right.
And I love no wonder you're so successful because you have such a healthy it's a collaborative, it's a collective, it's collaborative. So nobody feels less than, they feel part of something, part of a whole. So all the people that work with you, they must feel so blessed to be working with you in this beautiful container that you've created, and that all the talent you brought in, there's some kind of connection with them as far as they work with all of you and they work with your vision and they're bringing something to the table, and it must feel so nurtured and supportive in this environment. I love balancing the masculine and feminine energy in work environment. So you've explained a lot of what that looks like in practice. Can you dive into that a little more? What that looks like in the work environment?
The balancing of the masculine and the feminine. I think, I mean, yes, I mean, I'll give you real case examples. So like just yesterday, I was feeling that level of anxiety popping up. And sometimes my team can feel it energetically because all of a sudden I'm asking a couple more, what deals are we working on, guys? You know, 'cause when that fear comes in and of revenue and things like that. Because at the end of the day, I am the CEO of the company, and I am the one that has invested everything into building this. I took a bet on myself. I took a loan out. Thanks thank you to my father, actually, who convinced me to get a loan during COVID. When I was at my previous company, I was like, I don't need a loan. I don't need an SBA loan. He's like, Trump's kids are taking a loan. Get a loan, like just in case. My dad, thank God, you know, and he and I are spiritually connected. I'm grateful that I did that because that's what I used to start my company. Because at the time I took the loan, I was working at Flutie in my previous company. I didn't have any plans of leaving. I started that company with that loan, and I've taken the least amount of money out of my company. I keep reinvesting it into the company. My staff makes Thankfully, I've been smart with investments. My husband and I both have been smart with investments. I keep wanting to reinvest into the company, but every once in a while, I'm like, okay, I look at the bank accounts and I go, okay, like what's going on? There's a little bit of a lull here. And so that's what they felt yesterday. And then this morning, I was able to really kind of release it because yesterday was a bit of like and I'd take a step back. I'm also having a lot of conversations right now with people that are interested in investing in my company. And so it's the putting on the face of everything's great, everything's perfect. But I realize because that's what we think and we're trained that we need to do, it's actually, if I want to humanize the work experience, I need to really humanize it. And the truth is that if I want to attract the right capital and not just take money from anybody, I have to be what it is that I'm trying to attract. Right? So I
Embodiment.
have been very discerning about who I wanna bring in capital
Mhm.
from, because I have people that have money, there's billionaires around me, there's people that have done very well in selling companies that are interested and we're having conversations with, and I've been like, "Okay, who, which one? I don't know," right? I've never even had to ask for money, like, I don't even know what this is about, but I realize that in order for me to get what I need, or not what the company needs to keep going, is it's gotta come from the right source because 'cause we're building something really big right now. Beyond the management, this is outside of the management. We are building a platform for content that's consciously curated content. And so to do and have a truly, in essence, a studio, that requires an additional revenue and I need revenue to come in. So an investor deck, talking to investors, the whole thing. But I keep saying I need the money to come from the right energy. That's surrendering into my feminine and not having to present and be in my masculine and like everything's great. It's like if I want to attract the right money, I have to be the right money. I have to be the right energy.
That's the key.
And that's the key. And so this morning, the release that I had was exactly that. And I came and I understood right there. I was like, okay, I got it. And then in my meditation, which is again, that is surrendering into sitting with myself and doing transcendental meditation, I was able to have the vision of the people that I know have the energy that I want to attract. And I would not have had that if I was still in my masculine and not able to sit with myself, which is the feminine. And in that meditation that I prioritized this morning, because it's not always easy. I also have two young boys who I have to also take care of because my husband's traveling out of country. I got the clearing. I got the clarity. I knew that I was blocking it myself, and that in actuality, I was never going to attract the right energy of money if I wasn't truly in my balanced masculine feminine. And to be able to be really vulnerable and show the full holistic picture when I'm talking, because these are all people, these are human beings I'm talking to They may have access to a lot of capital and money, but at the end of the day, they are a human being. And though I won't know the right energy unless I'm able to strip it down, just like I have my clients do, and be truly vulnerable and not be fearful of that. And so that's where it's that balancing act, right? It's the balancing of, yes, I'm a CEO of a company, but I'm also a human soul. And at the end of the day, like I want to do really good things with what I've built. And so right now, it's going to take the right collective energy to help impact 8 billion people the way that I want to impact 8 billion people with consciously curated content that my clients are going to be featured in. And that's across podcasts and courses and streaming platforms and consumer products and experiences and all the things that we're building. But it's going to require the right energy to want to support that. And money is just energy. And so for me to do that, that's a great example of how I had to balance it and realize I gotta, if I want the right, I have to be the right energy. I can't just be CEO with a suit on when I'm talking about building a consciously curated Netflix, which is what we're building. We want to be the bridge between the fluff and the fringe. My company is building a platform. So we've got all the like the HGTVs, the food networks, the talk show formats here that are entertaining and fun. And we've got like on the fringe side, we have like Gaia and Mind Valley and TED Talk and podcasts and masterclass. We want to be the bridge,
Mm.
like an arc. You need
Mm-hmm.
the bridge
Mm.
between the fluff and the fringe. And in order to build that, that requires resources that I don't currently have because I'm right now operating as a management company. And so yeah, it's like so timely that we were having this conversation because I just went through it. It was another exercise and another practice of balancing the masculine and the feminine energy. And if you would have told me I would be doing this 3 years ago, I'd have been like, I don't know who you're talking about. Not this girl. This girl doesn't even know how to sit still. I couldn't even meditate if I wanted to save my life 3 years ago. It's all very new for me in the last couple of years. I prioritized learning meditation and it's
Mm-hmm.
been a practice and it's not it's something I've been able to stick with every single day. But I know that every time I sit with myself, it's the most incredible feeling that
Yeah.
now I feel called and that's all I want to do. Not all I want to do, but I feel the calling.
And you practice TM. So I got, is it the attuned? I did a course out there twice. I think it was over by the Grove. I got my mantra and everything, but I didn't. I'm so bad when it comes to like structure. You got to do it this, you got to do it like,
Too, as I've learned, there's a woman named Surah, and you should follow her. She has a book called Surah Flow, Surya, Surah Flow. I met with her a few years ago when I was just starting my journey, and now I really understand why I was connected with her a few years ago. She wrote a book that is literally about her path. She was a Wall Street, met very deep in her masculine and exhausted. And then she literally left it all behind and went and learned all about meditation and yoga. And she traveled all around the world. And what she discovered was that all types of meditation have been created by man.
interesting.
And so, Nancy, I had the same issue, the same resistance. And the truth
Very
is,
much.
it doesn't need to be structured.
No,
It
I,
doesn't need to be 20 minutes like TM. And that's why I shouldn't even call it TM anymore because I've made it my own.
mhm.
TM is supposed to be 20 minutes a day, 2 times a day. And it's mantra based. And there's a reason for it. And I understand that now better. For those of us that have been in our masculine, mantras are really great because it keeps you focused when you've got a very active, busy mind and you've been having to hustle your whole life, right? So it worked. It was my way in.
Mhm.
And then now I don't even use my mantra. And
Right.
that's the secret
You
of
created your own, and it
is
was always taboo, and they had their guru, like, "No, you're not doing it right," or somebody else that they start like, it was the master that did it, and then you're not supposed to follow this person because they bastardized what he created. I'm like, "You know what? Just don't tell me what to do. Let me do it on my own." I've always been one to,
that's
and
right.
that's what femininity is about. It's like embracing and creating your own. It's just like spirituality. It's what it's your own, whereas religion, like as another example, it's like you're being told what to do instead
That's
of
right.
spirituality is your own thing.
That's exactly right. I have that conversation all the time. I'm married to a Catholic. My husband's Catholic, a devout Catholic family, and I'm saying that spirituality is not in replace of. If you want to be religious, that's fine. It's not mutually exclusive. Spirituality is really just being in tune with your higher self. It's not following anybody but you.
Mhm.
It's not like you're following an icon or someone that you read about in a book. Those were led to inspire. And I think that, the thing about the beauty about, meditation is that every time you sit with yourself, you know that you hold all the answers. And so that's the joy that I now have found in meditation. It's no longer about the mantra and the 20 minutes and the this and the that. Because if you go
Too
deeper down the
structured.
rabbit hole, you know that time isn't even really a thing. So what is 20 minutes? It's not even time isn't even real. We just have this moment right now, and that's all it is. And when to get
Yes.
deeper into the spirituality, I'm deep in the Kool-Aid. You understand that. And so you understand that there's no rhyme or there's no rules. There's no anything. And Surah
Mm-mm.
Flow, I love her book. She talks about how she discovered this all. And women's bodies weren't Nancy. Women's bodies, think about the pregnant woman. They can't even sit in that pose with the big belly and the whole no, but it was created by man. And we
Mhm.
love the men. This is not man hating, but at the end of the day, it's time for the woman to
Yes.
get out there and go, no, we don't need it to be this way. We get
Yes.
to create what we want as long as I get to sit, and we could sit anywhere. It could be in an airplane, it could be in a car. As long as you're in tune with yourself and you're focused on yourself and you're focused on your breathing, that's all you need.
Mhm.
And
Have you
with
ever done I've done this in LA, the Kundalini, and have you done Kundalini?
not,
And you had
no,
it's great, but it was very I think it was 45 minutes where you're supposed to have your arms up, and you're supposed to keep your arms up, or you're supposed to be uncomfortable, or something. I'm like, "Oh my god, my I can't do this. My arms are killing me." Or and I've done in Studio City, it was Bikram with the Bikram guy, and it was so hot in there. And it was so hot in there, and it was just these movements were like, "Da, da, 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 da." And I think I stopped to drink some water, and he yelled at me for drinking water, and I felt like I was and my friend I think I had an extra it was for 2, my friend was going all the time, and I gave it to my friend, I said, "You know what? You can take this extra one, I never wanna do this again, that was just horrible." And it's probably a man that created well, he
it
was a
is,
man,
Nancy.
and he got
That's
in
the
trouble later on, I think.
no, that's the thing, Nancy. That's 100% right. And again, I think when you think about a man and how a man's mind works,
Mhm,
they maybe needed it to be that dogmatic and structured and ritualistic. Women, we're in the flow
mhm,
and we have to own our own flow. And it doesn't mean that, again, there's that balance of masculine and feminine, right? And so someone who is in deep in their masculine probably could really benefit from transcendental meditation just to get them into meditation because it helps to focus the mind. It helps with that mantra, the repetitive mantra. But then what actually happens is you no longer need the mantra because you've now found a way to sit still for
mhm.
20 minutes. And I get it. I get why it was devised that way for someone who was deep or masculine. I don't think I could have just sat without it for
It
20
gets you
minutes.
out of the head.
There's too much going on. But even that, my mentor, I have a female mentor, Natalie Mendoza. She's incredible. She taught me TM, an actress who is deep on the journey and has ascended, and she's just an angel on this planet. We're so lucky to have her. But she was saying, we're all born with the sun. And when we go through life, that sun gets covered by clouds. And the sun is our source. It's God, it's source. It's our higher self. And throughout life, it gets covered by clouds. And what meditation does, it strips away the clouds to get back to the sun. So the more you're committed to it, the more clouds, and then you get to the sun. Psilocybin and plant medicine, ayahuasca, heart openers, all those things that you can do is a shortcut to the sun. But you can get to that same space in that same way. You can get to that same, I guess, experience over time through meditation.
Mhm,
That's why for me, I needed to do the plant medicine journey because I was so deep in my masculine. That plant medicine journey brought me back to my feminine little by little. And then after that journey, I had so many synchronistic experiences that took me on a deep spiritual journey that really started 3 years ago.
mm,
And that blew the whole thing wide open for me. And I've been like deep on my journey. And now it's really about imparting that information to those that are in the professional work environment who don't have access to that. Because I don't need to share this with people like you, Nancy. You're already drinking the Kool-Aid. But I'm grateful for you to open up the aperture and have the conversation like this so that maybe those that are stuck in their professional careers and are wondering what to do with themselves and it's all they've ever known, there is a path to finding your purpose. And I truly believe that that is through meditation and
Mhm.
things like plant medicine, things that you can never get through a coach or a mentor or anyone
Absolutely.
outside of
Talk
yourself.
therapy for years
I
goes
mean,
right.
it's true. It's like you can I thought I mean, people say you can get like I have a client of mine, Danny Morell, who's got a big platform. He's an awakening guru. He's incredible. And he says, one plant medicine and 30 years of therapy. I don't think you could even get I could never have gotten what I got in my plant journey through any years of therapy. I've done therapy because it's an inside job and it's like I had to be shown something that couldn't have shown me unless perhaps you're doing hypnotherapy, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. And with ayahuasca, it's like, show me who I've become. I think that's what you go into saying. And the plant medicine's always with you. Mama Aya is with you after. And it's not for the faint of heart. You don't know what you're going to be shown. You have to surrender
That's
to
right.
the experience.
I have not done ayahuasca, Nancy. Have you?
Yeah, I did ayahuasca. I did a ceremony up in Portland. It was a 2 weekend. There's two guys in Portland that they studied down in Peru, and then they came up and they he worked for a yoga studio and they both did it together. And the first time I did, I think it was January of 2020, and we went to. They used to rent Airbnbs back then, and so there was only like 11 or 12 of us, and there were two curandos or shamans that did it. So they held this beautiful container for us and they put us around in a circle. So for 6 hours, they did their aikidos and they sang and they did like bowls. And then it was an amazing experience. 2 days, had an incredible experience. And then I did it, I think a year or so later, I got called to do it again. That was a little bit of hell. That one, because
Really?
the second time, the second trip, the second one, I was awake the whole time. I was awake through the entire 6-hour ceremony, and finally, at the end, he came and put a sound bowl on me and put it on my stomach and tapped on it to drop me in. So I was dropped in when everyone was coming out of it. So there was parts of it where it's like, "Yeah, I remember this part." Usually, I'm, like, seeing, like, I'm seeing, because I don't know about it with I've done mushrooms for fun, but I've never did it in ceremony. Do you start seeing like, you see the sky, it's like stars, and then you see well, we saw kaleidoscopes, of course, but initially it's just like blackness, and then there's like geometric patterns, and there's like
Yeah. So I never saw any of that, Nancy, because the first time that I did it, I've only done it twice, like through a journey like that. It's a total like my eyes are closed and I'm like it's all just it's images and it's downloads.
well,
It's more like it's more auditory. It's like I'm
mhm.
hearing and I'm being shown visually, like almost like you're daydreaming, but I'm being shown specific things. I was shown like my grandmother's life, like almost like a film strip of her life, my deep lineage to her. I was showing some past life stuff.
Wow.
But it wasn't like I never opened I opened my eyes a couple times to make sure I wasn't asleep and I could see my black eye mask on. But, and then the second time I did it, I did a psilocybin journey. No, sorry, I did a heart opener and then it was something called Ma, which is like, ayahuasca and mushroom vine root. And I didn't see anything with that either. It was all, again, I always end up closing my eyes. And even when I do a heart opener, like a sassafras or white lily or anything like that, it's like, it's very, like, I almost don't see anything. And I just always want to close my eyes and I just go in. And it's like, it's literally like I'm transported somewhere else. And
Well,
then
our
it's just all the downloads. So I don't ever but I've heard a lot of people talk about what you're talking about, geometric patterns, shapes.
yes.
Because I don't ever open my eyes,
My eyes aren't open.
you just see it inside.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Well, I haven't done ayahuasca though, like, I haven't done straight so, like, I feel it calling. I feel her
You
calling.
only go when you're being called to
Yeah,
it.
and I feel it. I know it's coming.
I don't feel I need to really do it again. I mean, if I get called to it, I'll do it because I've gotten to those planes during breath work. I was
Yes.
going to become a breathwork facilitator, but COVID happened and then my trip got canceled. I was going to go back to Bali, but there's somebody that did shamanic breathwork out in Ubud, and I went I went up to Jesus. Like I can get to those states without ayahuasca. You don't really ayahuasca is good, and I don't feel like some people can become addicted to it because some of the people that did go, they go every month or I'm like, oh my God, I could not take drinking that stuff all the time because it's rough. And the vine that they get was from Hawaii, so it's not as harsh as the other ones. I never threw up. I hate throwing up. So I just willed myself away from throwing up. And people are the last one I did, they were throwing up all over the place, and I took my head out of the circle. I went on, outside. I'm like, someone's throwing up here, someone's throwing up here. I'm like, I can't. But yeah, it's pretty incredible. And you know what happened recently? This is crazy. And I don't know if you've ever done gummies. Like, I
Yeah.
don't do any of that. I've done gummies. Like somebody can give me a pack of gummies, they're going to last me a couple years. Well, I took and I can only take a little nibble of it. And I took it, and this has happened to me before. I think I'm just sensitive to it. I enter a time warp because I wanted to watch the new season of You, and this has happened to me before where I sit down to watch it. I'm like, "What the hell? I've seen this before." Like, "Wait, when did this come out? No, this just came out, so I couldn't have seen it." I enter some kind of time warp or a different timeline where I've seen it before, and I'm never gonna take it again and try to watch a show because after that wore off, I watched it the next day and I'm like, "Okay, good. Now I can sit and enjoy this." But I literally either go to a precognitive state, I enter a different timeline, or I'm in a time warp.
Yeah. Yes. It's because your veil is very thin, as is
Yes.
mine. I've had I've had spiritual experiences with a gummy.
Yes. And
Absolutely.
I'm gonna do it. I'm like, maybe I should use this intentionally. Maybe if I'm gonna do it.
I've never done it to watch anything. I and I haven't done this, but, like, I could see myself because I really do enjoy that time of solitude by myself when I'm given the opportunity, and so for me, I could see myself doing that just to go into a deeper meditation.
I'm gonna start doing it that way.
Yeah. I think that that is what you're saying. I think you're right. Like for me, yes, we all have had our fun with, mushrooms, even like, I done it once before with a girlfriend of mine. We were camping and I didn't even know what it was. And she, a friend offered it. He was going to Burning Man. We took a little bit and I was looking at the sky and I was like, oh, the way the
Yeah.
trees. And I
Nature.
just noticed things. But like outside of that, I really am not, for me, like I now understand the sacredness of
Mhm.
plant medicine and listen, I mean, marijuana is sacred. It's a plant. So you think like this is indigenous to our earth, and I would absolutely use it really for the right intention. I probably wouldn't use it recreationally very often anymore.
Mhm.
Not that I do very often anyway, but I have. I mean, my girlfriends and I would go and we'd go have fun, and you take a gummy and you're going to go have a night out or whatever, But I think I'm beyond that now because of the appreciation for what it has to offer. And so I am not trying to escape anymore.
Mhm.
It's actually for me to go deeper with myself. And I feel like that is the true beauty of plants and plant medicine is that it can help. It's bringing you, it's returning you to yourself. They say like alcohol disconnects you from yourself. And so I think I'm not a big drinker, but it's like yes, you have fun and it's great and all that. I still will have a drink here for sure, but it's like as long as you're not using it for an escape and you're using it. So for me, it's like I can see why you jump. So I've done that. Absolutely, I've done that where you jump sort of timelines.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a time warp. It's happened other time. I tried to watch something I never watched before, and I just took it to, like, relax a little bit, but I look at that bag in my after that last one, I look at the bag in my cupboard, I'm like, I'm not taking you again, but I am gonna sit maybe under a new moon or a full moon and do it intentionally, because if I'm gonna go on a different timeline, it's like, take me to a timeline that I wanna stay on, not just, like, warping the show that I'm watching. Because I would tell my sister before, I'm like, "I don't know, it's like I'm on a different timeline or time slows down," and I know it for sure now, for real after that last experience
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah. Oh, wild.
Yes, it's wild, and yeah, plant medicine sacred, you really had quite the experience, and you only did it, like, your first time. So, with the ceremony, so you had somebody that was holding space for you, and
Mhm.
you took and then you laid down. Were you guided through it with the music? Because I know the music, Aikidos is to take you in and out. I mean, there's a purpose to all the songs that they sing.
Yeah, I feel like my urban shaman, I call him, his name is Shane Coyle. You can go look for him on the gram, and he's got a podcast called Uncaved. But he is we did Hoppe first,
Oh, I've done.
kind of open up the third eye.
Is that the one where, yes, where you have to sniff it in? Oh
Yeah.
my God. Or I'm thinking of Astanga. I've
No,
done
you're right.
Hopi.
It's that you sniff it in,
Yeah.
then, but it's natural again, and
Hmm.
then you do the tea, but it was very intentional. He does an intake before, and he knows me very well, but I was very, he wanted you to talk about your intention, why you're there. Mine was very clear to get clear on my purpose with my profession, all of the reasons why I was going there was really about that, and that's exactly what I got. I got the answer. He'll tell you, he's like, "You did not move for 4 hours." Usually people get up to go to the bathroom, and every time it's so I don't move. Whenever I've done it, I don't move. And so, I just sat there and I mean, I laid there and I was in my journey. And he had music going and he put the most incredible playlist that I would like ebb and flow into it because then half the time I was gone, but then I'd come back and the music would pull me back in. And then I came up and I woke up with a business plan. I literally
Wow.
came out of it going, I know I need to leave my business partner. I know I need to start my own company. Like it was like, and 2 days later, I called my partner. We sat down and over, it's not right away, but he was understanding and started my company. And in the pandemic, I mean, I couldn't even go to the bank to open a bank account because the banks were closed. I mean, like the most interesting time, but it was exactly the right time for me. And so I am a big proponent of very responsible plant medicine guided journeys. You have to be really careful. There's a lot out there, a lot of people putting on these psychedelic retreats. You wanna
Oh
do a lot
God,
of
no.
vetting, and if anyone listening wants to have a good recommendations of people that have been vetted, because it's become a bit of a trend now, and you're seeing these retreats pop up right and left, and it's like, I mean, especially with ayahuasca, 60 people deep, like,
No.
it's supposed to be that way. It's
No,
supposed to
the energy that's released
Yeah.
in, you need a safe container. You
Safe
need a
container,
very
and I
safe.
would recommend a one-on-one the first time if you could, like a mushroom, like a
Hmm.
psilocybin journey first, ideally, before perhaps maybe doing ayahuasca, maybe just because I know it's a different experience, but it's a good way to kinda work your way into it.
Hmm. And you got all that from psilocybin and
Yeah.
like Mama. You haven't even met Mama yet.
Haven't met mama yet, but you know what? I think that it's coming, and I think that I've had a lot of, like, experiences since then. I did a group one as the second one that I was mentioning that I did with the Ma and the heart opener, which was White Lily, which was incredible.
Mm.
And I feel like there's a lot of these are all modalities, Nancy. I'm working on a project right now, a scripted, a TV project that's literally about past life regression. Like whether it's a past life regression, whether it's hypnotherapy, whether it's meditation, whether it's plant medicine, or if it's a breath work, sound bath, all these things, somatic therapy. There's all these modalities that we have available to us that just we don't know about. And I want to shine a light on that through the content and that we want to produce because these are ways that we can really help connect to our higher selves and live a true life of purpose. And a lot of people go through life without having ever gotten there.
Mhm.
And I really wanna support that shift and showing and helping supporting the offering that's out there for those that are interested in cure. And I wanna do it in a way that's approachable and grounded. Not everyone's gonna need it. Not everyone nee No one needs to do plant medicine. But if you are someone that has a hard time sitting still and meditating, it's a great way to have and to connect with the experience that you can get to on your own through practiced and routine meditation. I had to do plant medicine first. That was my journey. But for
Mhm.
someone else who's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't I can sit with myself," like, do it. 20 minutes a day. Start with at least 20 minutes a day and then ideally work up to 2 times a day, 20 minutes if you can. But even if, there's no judgment. If you can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, work your way up to 20, like, that's all. But it's like no one needs to do anything other than just sit with themselves in quiet, intentional time. And we can all have success. It's just about getting clear on what it is that you want and having, the guides, source. to remind us of why we chose to come and incarnate in this lifetime.
That's beautiful. And we had talked before about bringing this spirituality and rooting in it and not just being up there in the clouds. Like we have these beautiful aspects of the other realm, spirituality, and all the things we talk about as far as meditation, plant medicine, and divine feminine and masculine. But yet you're rooted into the earth, being solidly rooted into the earth, which is a blessing to be Mother Earth, Gaia, and bringing all these aspects. And you had talked about bringing humanity into business. And that's what you're encompassing
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, whether it's through the actual company itself and my team and my collective talent roster to then the content that we're creating.
Mhm.
Content like what we're creating with you, like you and I are together right now. Like this is the exact kind of content that we want to put out there in this world,
Yes, and the world
so we
needs
can
it.
come together and no longer be in the situation that we're in right now. I mean, the political climate and just
Yes.
the hate, the war, the separation, the segregation, all the things that have led us to this moment. It's time for the divine feminine
Mhm.
to take the reins and to heal our planet. And this is how we do it. It's by conversations like this. Because right now we have let men, and this is no slam, men were just doing what they knew to do, the patriarchy, the toxic masculinity, all those things. And it's time for the woman, for
Mhm.
the feminine energy to step back into power
Yes.
and help heal this planet in more ways than just the climate and the environment, but it's like our inner environments that we need to really heal.
Mhm.
And that's how we can do it. And it's in a grounded way so that we can do it in our everyday life through our profession, not just outside of our profession. My team knows my journey, and we've done sound baths together.
Mm.
They know I want to do a meditation. I'm not able to get them to want to do plant medicine, but if they decide to be called for it, they know I'm here to support it. And some of them have. We've done spiritual retreats together. And that's how we keep the energy and the frequency going every single day is by being united in this journey together, the spiritual journey, while being professional working women who want to make money. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. And want to have a work life balance and want to be with their families and also want to thrive and not have to rely on their partners for revenue and be able to bring that in themselves with something that they actually enjoy doing.
'Cause you're bringing your whole self into your work and what you do. So
Yes.
there's not that aspect that you don't have to separate
There's
yourself
no
into little
separation.
boxes.
There's no separation, Nancy. A lot of people are finding I've noticed a lot of people in my age group, our age group,
Yeah, I thought
oh,
you were 34,
I
no
love you,
older than.
Nancy. By the way, ditto right back to you. But a lot of people in our age range who have been in business for a long time and have had incredible years or not incredible, a lot of years in their industry, various maybe companies, but same industry, higher titles, higher packages, compensation packages. Their whole identity has been wrapped into their profession. And now those jobs are no longer. Layoffs are
Yeah.
paramount. They've aged out of jobs and they don't know what to do with themselves. Their whole identity was wrapped into their career. And I think what we're trying to do is it's an integration. It's not a separation. It's like your title is not who you are. It's an arbitrary abbreviation or acronym that was given to you as an EVP or whatever, SVP or CFO or CEO or COO or whatever, right?
That's not who
That is
you
not
are.
who you are.
Mhm.
That is a component of who you are. But to your point, it's like the whole person. It's the whole person. That's just 8 hours of your day, that's focused on this one energy of this type of business. At the end of the day, that same entity, that same human, that same soul is now going into motherhood, partnerhood, wife, husband, whatever, friendship, daughter, son, all the roles that we play. It's that same being that was working in this energy for 8 hours, focused on this one mission that now gets over here. So it's the whole person, it's the whole being. And so, you can take that title and you can like be like, okay, I'm gonna embody that in everything that I do. And I'm gonna call myself chief manifester, whatever it is. And it's every aspect of your life. I'm just dedicating and focus and energy toward for 8 hours of in this direction. And so I think that that is something that a lot of people are facing right now. I mean, forget the baby boomers. It's like our generation right now, the 80s, the 90s kids who are, in the second half of our lives right now going, "Oh my god, I've been doing this one thing. I don't even know what I am without it."
Mhm.
And there's a lot of people in my community of entertainment right now because our industry has shifted in such a big way that are not working and don't know what to do with themselves.
Mhm.
And now comes in AI.
Yes,
And then that's a whole other layer.
very
This
much.
doesn't even just impact the entertainment industry, this impacts every industry. And so that's why it's all the more reason why the one thing you cannot teach AI is the human condition and emotion and spirituality and all the things that a machine can never get to. And so that's why right now it's so important for us to integrate because if people want to continue to have success and thrive, they're going to have to integrate all of this aspect. Otherwise, they're going to be on the streets. They're not gonna have work. They're not gonna have because those jobs, you gotta, it's like go and focus on the things that AI can't do, and that starts with spirituality.
Because it is changing the entire industry. I know people, writers, of course, that's why we had the big writer strike, wasn't it, with the AI? And then just how they can just take a picture of you and then own your image and create all these other images of you. So you're going to be out of work. You get paid once, but they can use you thousands of times. So what do we do? I mean, it's not going away. AI is not going to go away.
No, but what we're doing right here, you and I, is
Hmm.
is AI proof because AI could not have the conversation you and I just had,
No.
and that's why you're on the right path because this is not something that can be replicated by a machine. Like you and I diving deep with one another is an example of that.
Hmm. Yeah, the whole beautiful human experience,
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I've loved this conversation. I just have to a few more questions and then we'll go. Wait, what time is it for you out there?
I
It's
have
1 o'clock.
7 minutes.
You is it almost 2?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
we
it's
got to
okay.
start wrapping this up. uh, okay, so well, I'll do the other stuff later. But what are you most proud of, not just in your career, but in how you've chosen to
To evolve or involve?
evolve?
Evolve. I think I'm most proud of what I'm doing right now with my company. By betting on myself, the moment that I had last night and this morning, I was, I'm a human being and I question things just like anyone else, especially when you see that the revenue isn't as strong as it was last quarter. But that's when I go, you're not selling out this time, girl. You're gonna keep you're gonna keep you're being tested. Universe is testing you. You're gonna trust in the universe the way that you know you're supposed to. You know too much now. You can't go back. And so I'm most proud of every day that because I have done this entirely by myself from a financial perspective. I've not had to lean on anybody or entity, anybody, maybe alone, but anybody for capital to this point. And we've built a lot in 4 years. And I'm so proud of the work that we've done. We've touched billions of lives because of our client roster and the access that they have and the content that they distribute every single day through all kinds of mediums. And I know that that will never be able to be measured. And so I'm just so grateful that myself and my team, our collective, has created what we created inside of such a short period of time. That's why I know that it's just the beginning of what we're doing. So I would say right now, just staying on task and not letting the fear and the ego get in the way of what I know is going to be massive success because it's rooted in truth and purity and it comes from a pure place, which is to help lift up humanity and
Mm,
consciousness. And so it can't be, I just continue to trust that as long as that is my focus, the universe is going to keep supporting that.
yes. Yes. And what message do you hope every woman listening today takes to heart?
I hope that any woman listening to this will just try their best to sit with themselves as hard as that can be. Just keep trying because you have all the answers you need.
Mm,
So just prioritize self care, self love. I know it's not easy. We have all the things inside our heads, all the conditionings and the maskings and the childhood wounds and all the things that we've experienced. But if you can just start with sitting with yourself, even for 5 minutes every day, and then extend it out and extend it out. and then you will find your answers are within.
Mm, that really resonates. Well, where can people find you if they want to work with you, if they want to learn more about what you're up to, if they want to learn about the art collective?
Yeah. So you can go to Art Collective. It's I'm sure the website will be there, but it's just www.arccltv.com, Art Collective abbreviated. If someone wants to get a hold of me, they can email me, and I can send you my email, and they can email me directly if they have any questions. I have a private Instagram handle, so I don't really publicize that, but they can always get to me through ARC. We have an Instagram handle, which is just ARCCLTV at Instagram. DM, and then my team can get that to me as well. And then our website, there is a way for people to submit inquiries, and that can get to me as well if they want to direct something to me.
Wonderful. I'll put those in the show notes. And the last question for you that I ask all the guests is, what does it mean for you to live with an awakened heart?
I think for me, it really is. It's waking up every morning with gratitude. I wake up every morning with gratitude just for waking up. I have a 5-minute journal, and that's new for me, by the way. That's another thing I would recommend. It's just living in gratitude and recognizing the gratitude in everything, whether it's what I thought was supposed to happen, didn't happen, the way the clouds showed up today, the way that the sun wasn't there today, which is what I usually like to thrive off of clouds to be emotional. And I needed that release. So grateful for the clouds. So it's just, I think for me, Awakened Heart is knowing that I live in such gratitude. And that was something that I had to really work hard to get to.
Beautiful, beautiful gratitude. Well, Shab, it's been wonderful having you on. Thank you for all your stories and your beautiful insights. And I really think what you are offering is a gift to the world. Really, really, you're embodying everything that you're talking about, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, a little bit of that in there, and just
I love my divine masculine.
yes, yes, but you're leaning more into your divine feminine. She's such a beautiful, radiant being, and I love what you're creating, and I can't wait to follow you and see this whole bridge that you're creating.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Nancy, for what you're doing. And I hope that we do a lot more together.
I would love that. I wish I lived in LA still. We'd be friends.
It doesn't matter. You don't need to live in LA. You're going to come along for the ride.
I'd love that.
Yeah,
I would love that. Well, thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
thank you so much. I appreciate
Okay, thanks.
it. Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Awaken Heart podcast. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, head on over to your favorite podcast app to subscribe, rate, and review. If you have any comments, questions, or feedback, you can reach me at theawakenheartpodcast.com.